Hello, everybody, and welcome to my workshop. But before we get started, I'd like to begin with a quick quality check. Give me a green check if you ran setup audio setup wizard, if you can hear me, and if you see the rare recording dot at the top right. All right, so everybody can hear me, and we're recording. All right. Before we get started again, we want to do a short to-do list. If you're in the room where you can shut the door for privacy, please do that. And turn off your cell phones and get rid of any and all distractions. And finally, just relax. Kind of sort of like this cat, this picture. Okay, today we're talking about digital ethics. What's right, what's wrong, it depends, how to conduct ourselves while we're using media. Okay, ethics teaches behaviors that help people learn how to be ethical, courteous, safe, and productive while using digital media. By show of hands, how many people logged on to some type of social media today or uh, send a text message or something like that? All right. Okay, so kind of sort of like the big idea of this um, session is when you use social media, when you use any type of, when you send in people text messages or pictures or whatever, you have to think before you post, whatever that is. You have to think, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Before we post, we need to always think, and that's the big idea of this session. Okay, along with digital ethics is our digital footprint. A lot of people don't understand that even if it's been deleted, meaning a picture or a text message or a recording, someone else may have already downloaded or shared it online. And that's what we have to remember when we take pictures and we send text messages and when we post things on our social media networks that may not be so forthcoming or may not accurately describe who we are. We need to think about those things before we post them on there for later on for anything like if you a job situation or something like that. But before I get into that, I have a question for you guys. Now the question is, how has social media reshaped our lives regarding our personal identity and professional careers? Now think on it a minute, and I'm going to send you guys to the breakout room to discuss it amongst yourselves. And below in this white area, just jot down a few ideas for me. You guys understand that? Give me a green check if you understand it. All right, well, I'm going to send you to the breakout room for 2 minutes, and we'll see you back in 2 minutes. All right, for my virtual listeners, this is a good question for you guys too. How has social media reshaped our lives regarding our personal identity and professional careers? Like what are some of the nuances or some of the things we need to watch out for or some of the things we don't need to do or some of the things we shouldn't do or some of the things we should do when we're enjoying our um, social media or our any of our uh, media devices. Give me a green check if you successfully move yourself back to the main room. All right. So, what was the conversation, Ben? What do you guys?
Hello?
Yeah, we just talked a little bit about how people sort of are more self-aware of their behavior when they're online because it becomes permanent and creating a footprint. So you have to be cautious about what what your presence is or what your profile or appearance is, because it's something that will be there permanently and could pop up, 10 years later that somebody could find. So I think people are just a lot more self-aware about how they present themselves because of social media.
I agree. Do you have anything to add to that, Lucy?
Yeah, I'd just say that, there are certain types of social media like LinkedIn that can also enhance our professional careers. But we just, like Ben said, we have to be careful of how what we post. Just be mindful. Yeah, that's it.
Right, I agree. And it seems like, according to the NPR a podcast that we listened to for our class, it was a teacher who wasn't aware of her presence online, and friending some of her students on Facebook and calling them names, and joking in a joking way. I would assume, I don't believe that she thought that the students were all criminals, as the NPR reported, but just things like that. And she ended up losing her job simply because of that. So you're right, we have to be more mindful of the things that we put on our social media network sites and how we, our emails and anything. We just have to be more mindful and watchful. Okay, continuing talking about digital footprints. I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, or seen it in the news, but now when you go into certain shopping stores, the stores are able to track you via your cell phone. They be able to track the things that you buy, what hours you went into, and things of that nature, which to me I think is really intrusive. But that's my opinion. I have a YouTube video I want to show you guys, and I want to get your opinion on it. So 1 second. And I'm also going to put the link.
New this morning, U.S. Senator Charles Schumer wants stores to stop snooping on customers.
The Democrat from New York says some companies can use customers' cell phones to track their movements in a store.
They'll know, for instance, if you spent 15, 20 minutes in the liquor department. So they're going to know a lot about.
All right, so I'm getting ready to play it, and just come back after it's done. What do you guys think about that? Any comments, Ben, Lucy?
Yeah, it's kind of scary a little bit.
All right,
Makes me want to leave my phone at home from now on.
All right. You have anything, Lucy, you want to say?
Yeah, I just agree. Yeah, that's pretty creepy.
All right. All right. Another thing that we need to be mindful of, that's a huge part of the digital ethics, is texting and sexting. Texting has. First, I want to ask. Y'all can type this in the chat box. Could you guys just briefly describe what sexting is, or do you guys know what sexting is?
sexting or texting?
Sexting. Right. Ben said, I think it's sending nude photographs via text. Exactly. Lucy said sex through a text. Yeah, you can actually have sex through a text, but it's more of what Ben said, sending nude photos via text. Um, and and a lot of kids, and it's like the younger demographic of like young teens and that's doing most of the sexting, right? And what they don't understand is they can actually go to jail and be charged as a sex offender, even if the pictures of themselves and they send it to someone else. I mean, it's considered child pornography. And that brings me to like the NPR news report titled "Keeping Your Kids Safe Online is Common Sense." In the report, they talk deeply about how sexting is like it's exploded, you know, among our young teens in high school and things of that nature. And another thing that it was spoke on in the NPR news report, "Keeping Your Kids Safe Online is Common Sense," was texting has altered the way we communicate with each other because you can send someone a text that's in another country even. You know, I think a lot of times texting has made some of us impersonal, has made some of us bullies. It makes us impulsive. We don't think before we send a message out. Of course, it makes us braver because the person isn't anywhere in arm's length close to us. It makes us unforgiving. It makes us insensitive. And as we just spoke about, it's turned sexual with the sexting. All right. Before we leave, I just had for like the parents and for parents, because the digital ethics has to, in my opinion, has to start at home with especially with our children. It can't be solely an educator's responsibility to promote, practice, and teach digital ethics. I think it has to start at home. So these tips are really for parents. You know, at home, parents need to limit screen time of their children, have a duration of time that the child is able to be on their digital device. They need to pay attention to the digital media their kids are using. They need to think about what devices and network their kids are allowed to plug into. And they also need to establish rules. But the best thing they need to do is to be a good digital role model. It's kind of sort of like you telling your kid that, or you telling a child or a student or whomever not to text during class time or not to text at the table, and they look at the parent or the educator and they're texting during those times. So you have to be a good digital role model. Does anybody have any questions or any comments, anything they'd like to add to this? Yes, you can give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you have something to add or not. All right. I think Ben's writing something. Okay. All right. So here are my sources, and I hope that I have given you guys something to boost your digital ethics. Thank you.